Herm Schrader on the Dirty Mo Media platform from the middle of America in St. Louis, Missouri starts right now.
Well, two of us are in St. Louis. We didn't get here till 2 o'clock last night. And I'm sorry I'm overslept. I set my alarm for 7. I went to bed at 3, set at 7. 4 hours sleep will be great after this week. And I screwed up. So here we are.
My Lord, you are so much tougher than me. You drive from Arizona all the way halfway across America, and you're like, I only need 4 hours of sleep.
I only drove halfway. I had Joey with me. We split it up good. I had a small map, and if you take that shortcut, it's not that bad.
I'll never forget. You remember Sue Sifford. Yeah. So, you have a big map and it's like, how far do we have to go? And they're like, they take their fingers and they like show you like, we have that far to go, like 1 inch, that's 100 miles. Well, let's start like this, Kenny. Now I know you're going to get embarrassed, but I'm sorry. You made national news because you are known throughout America. And, your races out there at the Wild West Shootout, they were on Flow. So I call that national TV. In other words, everybody can see it. And you won, buddy. And you kicked their butt. Tell me about that night.
Yeah, we only won 1 of the 6. We did run second one. We led it for most of the way. And then I think it's Blake Adams, little Buzzy's kid or grandkid, is it?
Yeah. Rolled
around us after a yellow because he was a lot faster. But we had a good trip. It was 6 nights. Chris Kearns and his whole staff and Brad Whitfield out at Central Arizona Raceway, man, they did a great job. Man, started on time every day. Track was good. We're out in the desert, so you had to redo track a couple times, tune it up. Still got over early. 50 plus cars in each class, basically. Good shows. I don't know all the numbers. A great Flow TV audience, and that's up against the same week as the Chili Bowl. So, that's quite a challenge there. But good races. Had Davenport, Marlar, Little Pierce, Overton. I mean, they had a lot of good guys in the late miles, and they put on good shows. And the one night we were able to run pretty good, wound up winning the damn thing. It's a lot of fun.
Well, you started third, fourth row, so it was exciting, because as you taught me, if you win from the front row, or if you are on the front row, you better win. So you were not on the front row when the race started.
And second place started 19th, and third place started 14th. It was Christy Adams, from El Paso, Christy Barnett from El Paso, Barnett Harley. And her husband Sherm, who's 91, was out there racing. So see, I wasn't the oldest. That was older than me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff. Well, listen, we are going to get to dirt racing later in the show. And yes, I do have that whole race covered. And we're going to talk about the Chili Bowl. So you heard what Kenny Schrader was up to. I went to the Chili Bowl. And I had a really good time. Of course, it was the 40th running of the Chili Bowl. And we're going to get to all that. Kenny, we got a lot of notes here today. And I just thought it would be fun to start with something different. So let's do that. Let's start with something different. And then we're going to get to NASCAR right away. There's a lot of news. Let's go to the Chili Bowl for a minute, and I want your opinion on this. This kid named Jet Barnes, 14-year-old, he was a child. He got out of the car, and I had to take a double look. He won the B main, and he was running 7th in the big race. Track got gnarly. He ended up getting into the fence. So my question to you is this. Are we officially in an era now that if your child does not start at 5 years old, you don't have a chance? Do you have to start at 5 now compared to our days?
Well, it sure doesn't hurt. I mean, here we are, that young man's, like I said, 14 years old, and he's competing with them at the highest level at the Chili Bowl. Now, that's the Chili Bowl. It's not like Belleville, Kansas or something. But, he'd probably be faster there because he's got no fear yet. But yeah, I mean, these kids start so early, and they get that experience, and they've just got thousands and thousands of laps, before they're 10 years old and under different type of vehicles and different conditions. So yeah, you're not going to start at 16 and race against a kid that started at 5.
Dietz, I want your take on this, but then the opposite end of that, which is okay. I talked to Clint Boyer and I said, Clint, you're only 42. Why'd you quit? He said, Kenny, I've been racing my whole life. You look at Jeff Gordon. Jeff, of course, his lower back started hurting him. But like Kenny says, it doesn't hurt to start at 5. But by the time you get to 40, most of these people have had enough. What's your thoughts?
Well, I remember about 25 years ago, Jeff Burton said in an interview, he's like, the days of guys racing into their 50s in Cup are numbered. And I think a lot of it's got to do with what you're talking about. You think about a guy like Dale Jarrett or Bill Elliott. They didn't start racing anything, I think, till they were about 18 years old. How old was Rusty when he started racing? About the same, or
16 against Kenny at Lake Hill Speedway.
I think now, I don't think you got a shot. The thing I hate about it is, if you got money, you can go as far as you want, and that's what I hate about it. You got a few drivers out there like that didn't have family names, but like Denny Hamlin and a couple of guys out there like that literally kind of earned it on their merit, and I just don't think you see that now. And I'll be honest with you, there's been Cup races in the last 5 years that didn't have as much talent in them as some late model and sprint car races I've seen from top to bottom.
So my opinion on that is, now this has nothing to do with you, but I don't like you talking like that. And here's what I mean by that. And I love you, Dietz. Here's why. I told Dale Jr. one day, I was up in his RV at Atlanta, and I said, Dale Jr., you sure are famous. And his response to me was incredible. He said, I can't help it. So if your mom and dad got money, what are you supposed to do? I mean, not race because it might upset people. But I understand. But what I'm saying is, what are we going to do with Chase Elliott? We all know the story, because Bill Elliott told us. Bill Elliott told us that he sat down with Rick Hendrick and he said, Rick, I got a plan for Chase. And that he said that. So now do we get mad at Bill? Anyway, it's just a great discussion. And
one thing I will say is, when you look at Chase and Ryan Blaney and some of those guys, and I talked to Bill and Dave about this, and they both said, I've taken them as far as I'm going to take them. And they're either going to go to the next level and get sponsorship or not. But this is as far as I'm taking them. And, I remember when Dale Jr. started out at Myrtle Beach.
Beach.
And Kelly and Kerry, they didn't get anything given to them. And I remember he told me one time, he said he'd call his dad after the race and say, Dale Sr. would say, well, how'd you do? He said, well, we qualified on the pole and finished third. And he said, well, who finished first and second? And he said, Robert Powell and Charles Powell third. And he said, well, you hadn't done anything. That's the reason I sent you down there, was to outrun them and hang up on you. I mean, there are guys that have had to earn it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, this can be an hour-long discussion, so we'll just end it right there. But the bottom line is Jet Barnes, whether he has money or not, forget about money. He's a child. And I was in the infield, Kenny, and oh my God, did he make center of the corner speed? And he was pushing. He wasn't sideways. And I found that really interesting. You know how the sprint car or the midget guys will come in sideways. He come in straight. And I mean, man, it was pretty incredible. Okay. All right, everybody, switching gears. NASCAR gets help. Listen to this, Kenny Schrader. Travis Pastrana is going to drive for Nice in the Truck Series. Now, hold on. Cleetus McFarland is going to run the ARCA race. Tony Stewart is running the truck race. My point is, Travis Pastrana, superstar in the X Games, that whole different genre of a crowd. And of course, Cleetus, a YouTube superstar. Tony's back. Not a bad start for NASCAR.
No, I mean, Tony, I text Tony when I read that. I said, someone hold a gun to your head? And he said, kind of.
Yeah.
He said, kind of. Then I got thinking about, of course, I mean, why would you not want to go run truck race? Well, I can think of a couple reasons, but it's at Daytona. You're going to be in a big, brand new Ram truck, which is, it's no big deal. All they got to do is mess with the body a little bit. It's the same old stuff he's always driven. Everybody's got the same engines. Mopar is big on all his drag racing activities, right? Heavily involved in that.
Yeah.
So there was the gun, I'm sure. Tony's not climbing in that thing because he doesn't want to. Cleetus, ran the ARCA race last year, has messed with some ARCA stuff. Pastrana ran Xfinity for Busch before, didn't he? Didn't it?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, these guys coming to run. The media, you're part of it. I'm not. I'm just talking the show sometimes. But NASCAR this, NASCAR dead, NASCAR trying to NASCAR don't got to worry about doing anything. They just try to make the people happy again and keep doing what they've been doing for however many years. It's by far from dead. That's a shot in the arm for those three guys to go run. I mean, that'll be neat.
Yeah, I thought we would just acknowledge that. What a great start. It's like, I don't know. I mean, we're just doing Herm Schrader with Dietz. We're just, I thought it'd be a great discussion where, NASCAR is making this comeback, and we haven't seen these drivers in the last so many years, or at least, I mean, and I thought, I saw this morning Travis Pastrana, and I said, wow, look at this lineup for Speed Weeks. Fans have got a reason to go with these different genres. There's going to be a lot more people watching because of Travis Pastrana. I mean, Travis Pastrana, he's the guy that, jumps at Caesar's Palace. So his crowd's way different. Just thought it was something interesting to bring up.
No, it is. Travis, think about what he does and where he's made his name. So he's already got some mental issues, I mean.
Yeah, big time.
wonder if I can take this motorcycle and jump off this jump and flip over backwards a couple times. I said, you try that. See how that works out. But I mean, those guys are great at what they do. And yeah, it's good for our sport. It's fantastic. We'll take all them heavy hitters in different venues that we can.
Just a quick drive by, everybody. The 24 Hours of Daytona is starting, I think tomorrow or right now. This is Wednesday. Kenny, they do something that I never paid much attention to. It's called the Roar before the 24. Are you aware of that?
It's a big test, isn't it? I mean,
I think so.
It's a big thing. I don't know what it is, but I know that race. You've run it before, the one time, right?
You and I have. Yeah, I've run it twice.
But I mean, you talk about everything changes. Well, that race used to be just endurance. Now they race their ass off, and somebody wins by, split seconds or a quarter lap or something. I mean, the Dan Gurney story up there? That 24-hour race?
No, I don't.
Now I get my years mixed up. I want to say mid-60s. You got to be running to win the race. You got to be running at the end. In my mind, this is the way it works. He breaks.
Yeah.
He breaks with, I don't know how many minutes to go, half a dozen minutes to go. You ought to be able to look this up, sir, and get the details here. But he stops.
I'm on it. I think I know the story, but I'll get the details.
He stops, comes to a coasting stop right before the start-finish line, and noses it downhill.
What?
You have to cross the finish line. You have to be running. You can't be piled up in the tires over there somewhere with the 3-lap lead, I don't think, and win this race. So he stops. Something breaks. He stops. He's got a good lead. Points it down the bank because no one runs up there because you're going into that first turn, and waits till the clock to cross 24 hours and rolls across the finish line to finish the race. I know that part's right. I don't know how many details I got screwed up, but I know that part's right.
Well,
I think
this was in 1962, and it was before it was what led up to the 24. So that inaugural sports car race there was a 3-hour race, but it's exactly what you said. It don't matter how big a lead you got, that car has got to cross the finish line. He was far enough ahead when the clock hit 3 or 24, whatever it was, he would have won, but the car had to cross the line, and he pushed it across the line.
Yeah.
That's it. So I guess he was broke, obviously. Motor quit or what?
He couldn't make make another lap, so he stopped up there.
Man, you and him have got the same mind because, I always listen to you. In the years past, you're like, hey, I'm running 12th. This doesn't pay anything. But the sheet said if I run 15th, I get $1,000 more. You always were good at that, Kenny.
I got that from Mr. Donlevy.
Hey, let me preface this. Let me set you up for this. Okay, everybody. In the day, Kenny Schrader obviously raced for a living, and NASCAR would give us a sheet, and it would say the winner gets this, 10th place gets this. Well, Kenny realized that there was what we call bonus money for different spots. Let's say Edelbrock, who made motor parts, they're like, if you finish 15th, well, 15th would pay more than 13th. Okay, Kenny, now you go ahead with the story.
Mr. Donlevy's, we was on tight budget, and 15th, 20th, 25th always paid a lot more. But you didn't know where in the hell you were running then. There was no. I mean, you just kind of thought you knew where you were running. And top 10, you could be pretty close. But yeah, you were a lot better off to finish 15th. I'm talking mid 80s. 85 and 6, 87. We was trying to win races. Didn't work, but we were trying. But you were a lot better off to run 10th, 15th, or 20th.
Yeah. Yeah. Once you get there, it's like 13th, 15th is better,
Well, then maybe 15th. I got every entry fee over there, entry form over there in a file. 15th then might pay $5,000, and 13th might pay $2,800. And that's another reason with those guys not racing anymore. That's a big reason because of the trial. We already knew what everyone makes now. So you're making a ton of money, and you've had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And like, hey, I might want to do. I'm 45 years old. I might want to do something else in my life, and I have the money to go do it. So that's another good reason compared to, I mean, our generation was good, but the generation before that, when they raced longer because they didn't make near as much money. And if you go back, guys, they got hurt. So they quit in their early or mid 30s and stuff because they were hurting a lot of them. But then you always get those guys like the King that just, race and race and race.
It does amaze me during all this NASCAR trial situation. I guess right now, if you're a part of a charter, you're guaranteed like $145,000 before the green flag drops. Is what I see. That's big.
It's big. Yeah, it's big. Now we got to remember it costs you $600,000 or $700,000 to go run that race to get to $140,000. So we got to factor that in too.
Yeah, good stuff. My mind is going everywhere right now, just thinking about everything. Okay, we'll keep moving along in the news here today, everybody. While we were, doing our deal over the week, I saw something that I thought was really nice. NASCAR says, "Okay, guys, let's take this. We got 50 more horsepower. Let's take 750 horsepower up to Wilkesboro." And that really wasn't the story. The story to me was there was a lot of people in the grandstands. Dietz, you're shaking your head. I'll let you go first on that one. What'd you think of that good looking? It was good optics.
Yeah, and I think the trucks and O'Reilly Auto Parts Series cars had a test at Rockingham, and they had some of the grandstands open there, and they had a pretty good crowd. But I remember years ago when we were trying to keep North Wilkesboro alive in the mid 2000s, and people up there would say, if you open the gates and let these folks in, they're going to come. You're still going to get a lot of people at this racetrack that are just locals. And, you go, almost 30 years without having cup racing there after you've had it there for 50 years. You appreciate what you got. And I can tell you, those folks around Wilkes County appreciate what they've got. And I hope I don't even know that the racing hadn't been really good there, but I think now with it being longer and you're getting through tire runs and things like that, I think the racing will be better. And I mean, you guys raced there whenever, in the late 90s and stuff, and you never had the wrecks at North Wilkesboro like you did at Martinsville or Bristol or maybe even Richmond. For whatever reason, North Wilkesboro, you could get long runs. But I think that this pavement, now that's got a little age in it, I think the racing is just going to keep getting better and better. I think it's going to be real good this year.
Kenny, Wilkesboro brings out the best in everybody, getting down into turn one, as you know, because you're going downhill. Easy to get that right front in somebody's left rear. As we saw, Kyle Busch got into Ricky Stenhouse, and that, of course, Ricky was waiting for him and kicked his ass pretty much. Tell me about Wilkesboro,
Well,
Kenny.
it just, tracks with, like you said, Dietz, that Wilkesboro has no grip, and tracks with no grip, we tend to, you don't run right up, 1 inch off someone's door because you don't have no grip. So you leave, a few more inches there in case, thing wiggles a little bit more than you think it's going to. And so a lot of times those tracks, we have less yellows, like you said. And it's gonna be good racing. I don't know. Drive yourself crazy talking about this junk. It's just, I remember we left North Wilkesboro and said, oh, we're not going to come back here. Oh, heck, we got to go to Fontana or wherever we went then, But Fontana's gone. We are going back to Chicago after it's been shut for a while. Kentucky, we don't know what's going to happen in Kentucky. Kansas City's going strong. It just, I don't know.
What was the deal with you and Jimmy Spencer at Wilkesboro?
We didn't.
That's the one I always come back to.
Yeah, we weren't agreeing that day on what was going on. I love Jimmy, man. Jimmy's great. And I was up to his door and he cut left and I turned him around and then he turned me around on the yellow and we got over it,
He said he lost his brakes, I think, under caution is what he told NASCAR.
Well, you gotta say something. You can't say, well, you can, but I don't know about the new regime if you can. I fessed up once with the old regime and it paid off for me. But we was just arguing over space that day. We wound up ninth. It was in '94. The only reason I know it was in '94 is because I saw a clip of it the other day, and that's the only year that Kodiak car was painted like that. So it was at '94. But Jimmy, we ran into each other at Charlotte once too, in the Winston. But Jimmy's great, man. He's so much fun to be around. But we didn't agree that day.
So I'm in the truck race. I didn't run very many truck races. I think I run 11. But I'm in the Red Dog truck. I'm going down the front straightaway, and I'm going underneath the Spears, the blue and white 75. At that time, it was Dan Press. And he arcs in, and I'm lapping him. And I'm running like third. And I get into him. I don't mean to get into him. So Kevin Harvick told me, he goes, Herman, he says, I raced against Dan Press. He's got a memory like an elephant. So time goes on, and we go out to what's those tracks out there in California? With the trucks ran. Anyway, we're out there in California. Bakersfield, that was it. And I'm getting ready to lap him again. All the way across the United States months later. And I come up off of 2, and I saw I'm getting ready to lap Dan Press, and I'm like, oh no. Sure enough, as I'm coming up on him, I'm thinking, okay, I remember and I go to the inside, and can you believe that Dan Press? He hooked me. Kevin Harvick was right. Dan Press, I think we've lost Dan, but he had a memory like an elephant. And buddy, I went spinning in 360s going down the back straightaway. So the bottom line is, turn 1 at Wilkesboro will create massive drama. Now, up there at turn 3, you'll have your issues, but turn 1 is one of the most crazy corners in all of racing.
Yeah, we saw the big Ricky Rudd, Dale Sr. deal there.
Oh,
yeah. That was fun.
Yeah.
No.
Rusty and what was it, Jeff Bodine or Brett Bodine? Yeah, that was wild. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, well.
The bottom line was this, everybody. They had a test at Wilkesboro, And, 700 horsepower, 750, that wasn't the story. The story was, like you said, Dietz, it was a beautiful day. And it's like, damn, the locals said, let's go over to the racetrack. And it was good to see. It was just a feel good optics. And so Wilkesboro's back, everybody. It is a points race. Let's remember that. And it is no longer a show. Wilkesboro is officially back. Okay. We got a lot to talk about dirt racing. But before we talk about dirt racing, just something feel good. Kenny, I brought this up for you. And once I say it, you're going to realize why I brought it up for you. In the news, and everybody was congratulating him, everybody. Alan Bestwick is back announcing the Trans Am Series for Sebring. It is amazing how these great announcers lose jobs. And it's like, how can they lose jobs? Bestwick, Michael Waltrip, you, Johnny Benson, you guys made that show famous on Monday nights. And it was hosted by Alan Bestwick. Now, the Trans Am Series is owned by Tony Perella. But I guess the point is that I thought it was worth bringing up because you worked with Alan and like Ray Evernham and everybody was congratulating Alan. Just your thoughts on Alan Bestwick.
Oh, Alan's, to me, is definitely one of the best. He just comes. At first, I just like listen to him. He does good job. I like his voice. He comes prepared. He's got all his notes. He's got his information. He's done a lot of different sports and stuff over the years. But I mean, he definitely needs to be doing some major TV in the sport of automobile racing. I'm glad to see it for him.
Yeah. Dietz, I want to send this your way. It is odd to me when people are good and they end up not having a job. I guess that's what we call timing and circumstances.
You're probably asking the wrong person right now about that.
Tell me why.
I think there's a ton of people in this industry right now, I'd like to say myself included, that don't have full-time jobs for, various reasons. And I don't think that Alan Bestwick is it's a political game. And I think sometimes, I don't think he's got wrapped up in the politics of things or anything like that. I think in his case, it just, you kind of get left out. And when ESPN left, a lot of times networks want to create their own identity. They don't want to, bring along the past. So they want to bring in something new. The great thing about him is you would think that he will probably end up doing NASCAR races again if he wants to. Because now what's old is new. A lot of these. Yeah.
Let me interrupt you for a minute about Alan. Alan, he's like Casey Kasem, or he don't age. What is the deal with Bestwick? He doesn't age.
No. I mean, he looks to me like he always did. I mean, Alan, he doesn't age.
Yeah.
But I like Dietz what you said about we're going back to the old stuff. That makes sense. All we gotta do is tell Dale Jr. and Mark. Say, hey, why don't we have Bestwick? That's all we gotta do.
That's a highlight reel right there. Yep. Hey, hold on. That is awesome. That's a great subject.
But I am so appreciative that Dale Jr. and Mark have the love still for our sport and are very concerned about it and have been preaching about it, and that people in Daytona listen.
Ben Kennedy. Okay, for the most part, everybody, go with me here. We know Jim France is the grand poobah, but Ben Kennedy is in line to own NASCAR. All right. Ben Kennedy told the media, we changed our mind because of Mark Martin. He said that in an interview. And I thought, that's pretty cool. They said that they were zoning in on 3-4 race championship just with weeks or not long to go, and it was Mark Martin, and Ben mentioned that meeting that is made famous now, where there's like 16 people in this big old meeting, and Mark Martin is the only one calling in on Zoom, and they got the big screen up there, and they said, well, what do you think, everybody? And they said Mark went in first and lit him up. Said there was dead silence afterwards.
Well, we're lucky. We're lucky.
Well, Alan Bestwick is it's going to be streaming, but I think the thing of it is just the industry is happy that Alan has a job. And listen, we don't know Alan's finances. What we're saying is that when people go to work, it's just good. Nobody wants to sit on their couch all the time. So congratulations to Alan Bestwick. Okay, everybody, I think we did good right there. We did well over a half hour of NASCAR and kids racing, and let's go dirt racing. Let's go dirt racing. Well, Kenny, let's start with you. Let's start like this. We talked about you winning. The X mods, your division, it looked good out there. But I'll serve you up like this. Let's go with the controversial stuff. So the Wild West Shootout, the last night, just to let everybody know, I'm going to say it early so we get this kind of out of the way. Bobby Pierce wins, but there was a lot of lap money. So Pierce wins $50,000. Now, the reason I bring that up early is to let everybody know there's a lot of money on the line. Let's go to that heat race, Kenny. Turbo slides Jonathan Davenport, and we see a side of JD that we never see.
Yeah. It was close, a very close slide job. I mean, he didn't hit him in the left front, he just skated across the nose. That heat race, when you run that heat race, you're racing for starting positions. And when you put a bunch of good cars on a track, any track, this was fairly top dominant a lot out there. Great racing though, but it was top dominant, and you want to start up front. So you're racing for everything to get in that heat race to get that good starting position. And he slid him, and when you slide him, even if you don't hit him, which he did, he scraped the tail of his car across the nose of Jonathan's car. But even if you don't hit him, it takes the air off the nose, and Jonathan got his right front up in the loose stuff and got a defense. Had to work on the car, run a B main so he could run fourth in the B so he could start 23rd, I think, in the feature. Still wound up second. But yeah, it was pretty exciting down there. They had some pretty good video. I rode the little bike down there just to see. I stayed way back. Yeah, Jonathan was mad. Now, going in turn 3 with Turbo on the inside of you, do you know that this is coming?
So let me interrupt you right there, and I want to serve this up for you. Turbo sells a lot of T-shirts because, first of all, he's a good kid, but he's a bulldog. He reminds me of a Jimmy Spencer. So his quote afterwards, they go to Turbo and they put the microphone in their mouth, and Turbo says JD had two choices. He chose the one that created the most work. In other words, JD could have let off, and he did not let off. Now he's working on his car. So he is entertaining.
Yeah. Jonathan didn't think so much. wasn't that entertaining. But hey, it's just it's not a series. It's a mini series, they call it. So we're not racing for national points, which Jonathan has already said. They've already said they weren't going to race like the Lucas series or the World Outlaws, anything for national points this year. They're just going to go where they want to. I don't know what Turbo does. I don't think Turbo's racing for national points. I don't think he has. There's so many good races now. You don't have to race one of those series full time. You can still run all those races you want to of that series. It's just when, hey, I got to go 500 miles that way this weekend. I don't want to go 500 miles that way. There's good races 100 miles that way, so I'm going to go that way and race. So we just don't usually see this kind of stuff right off the bat in January. 6th race of the year.
I think what was most interesting is JD is a Southern racer, grew up on red clay, runs a beautiful line. Him and Overton grew up down south, and they just, they kind of like a Scott Bloomquist, or a Billy Moyer. But what we saw out of JD is, now this is the other subject matters. After the heat race, JD comes off the track and JD parks his race car in front of Turbo's pit, so Turbo could not back in. So JD was forcing a conversation, and all hell breaks loose. And then here comes JD's car owner, Lance Landers. And it was just good for the sport. But Kenny, I don't see it's like JD had enough at Turbo. And he says, I'm going to park my car so you can't park. And they talked it out. So tell me what you saw from your mini bike.
Well, just exactly that. There was no punches. There was no shoving. I wasn't in the middle of it. I didn't hear the words, not my business, don't care. But they both made their point, and they went on. And I think Jonathan, when he drove by him in the feature from starting in the back, gave him a hell of a good slider, but wasn't even close. I mean, he cleared him by a mile, but just like, hey, I'm going to drive by and keep going just so you know that I can.
So after the race, Bobby Pierce, we're going to talk about Pierce. He didn't win easily either, but when the race is over, okay, they interview JD, and JD says, look, I want to talk and I want to be friends with Turbo, but basically he's always running into everybody, and he has not learned anything. It seems like JD and those guys, it's like Dick Trickle would say to me. Dick Trickle said, my boy, we raced 6 out of 7 nights in Wisconsin. We've got to get along because we raced 6 out of 7 nights. Of course, that was back in the glory days. But Kenny, do these guys got to get along because they race each other so much?
We see some very, very talented people come into different divisions, and their whole mission is they got a lot of talent, they got good equipment, and win that race, period. Win that race. And that's the job. You're supposed to win the race. Ernie Irvin made no friends when he got in the Kodak car and ran over a lot of people. And he stood up in the driver's meeting and apologized to the world, to everybody in that driver's meeting at least. And your brother, there's video of him, your brother, he's sitting there listening, and he's like, yeah, right. And Ernie was, when he got hurt at Michigan, was contending for the championship in June, I think it was. So, I mean, he was, he had changed his style a bunch. Still fast, still aggressive, just not hitting people. Hey, I always say, all them guys always say I don't know if I always agreed, but it's always easier to slow someone down as far as a driver, get them calmed down, than it is to speed them up. Turbo, will probably, before he I mean, he probably calmed down a little bit. Calm down doesn't mean driving slower. It just means not getting into as many people, not going over the edge and tearing up your stuff when you don't really need to.
Dietz, you're from a different point of view. In other words, you're not a race car driver, you're not a fabricator, but yet you're in racing. We're all together. Does it upset you when you see a guy win, but just roughs everybody up, or do you like that?
Well, I grew up a Bill Elliott fan, so
he was Mr. Nice Guy,
and was not a huge Dale Earnhardt fan, but I always said that anybody can go out and wreck somebody, but it takes some talent to bump somebody and not wreck them and just slide them and be able to get by them. I didn't really see what Turbo, I know why Jonathan was mad, but it's like Kenny said, it's racing. I mean, you ain't going out there to play tiddlywinks. It is funny to me though when he mentioned Ernie Irvan, because I remember that race at Darlington where he was like 9 laps down and you were leading, and he wiped out half the field.
Him and I wiped out half the field.
Okay, but you were leading the race.
I was leading the race, but I also could have gave him his lap back.
You could have pulled over like Mark Martin.
I could have given him his lap back. So him and I wiped out the field.
Why didn't you?
Because I wanted to race him. I didn't want to give him his lap back. I wanted him 9 laps down. I wanted him to know I had his ass covered.
Okay, so we're moving on, everybody. This is really good stuff out west, and the Wild West Shootout, the late models. Okay, so Turbo and JD, they're into it, and we did the whole thing. Now Bobby Pierce wins. Now I'm going to go somewhere where you didn't think I would go here on this one. Okay, Bobby Pierce and Hudson O'Neal, they get into it, but I really want to zone in on Bobby Pierce's interview, and it has nothing to do with the wrecking, because Pierce and Hudson, they both drive the same way, very aggressive, very hard, but usually in control. Bobby Pierce said something that made me go, wow, listen to that. He's counting the money while they're out there. So Bobby has a good week, but he hasn't won, right? So you said you're out there for almost 2 weeks. On the very last night, Bobby Pierce wins $52,000. And Bobby said, we really needed the night, Kenny, because he said, we have been in the negative the whole trip. So there's a guy, I heard him. They were losing money until that last night. Just comment on Bobby counting the money. I think that's awesome, but give me your point of view.
If you're racing for a living, no matter what you're doing for a living, you know what our profession's so much different. It's not just like I got to go put in my 40 hours and I'm going to get this much money. I got to go run these 6 races, but it's going to cost me a substantial amount to run these 6 races. I don't know. I don't know. We should ask them guys. Whatever it costs to unload that late model now and run it for a night. Cost $4 or $5 grand. I don't know.
$5 grand. Bob, that's what Billy Moore tells me when he rolls out $5 grand. But God, Kenny, he told me that 15 years ago.
Yeah. And that's counting everything. That's your help, your insurance, your tires, your engine, your garage, utility. I mean, that's just bottom line. That's what you spend in the year, and you divide it up by the number of races you run. So you got to get some money to come in too. And they were trying to get as much in as they could, which they did a great job and got it done.
I think it's just a really good look, everybody. on the sport of dirt racing. I did a Kenny conversation with Brad Sweet, and I might have brought this up before to you, but Brad Sweet really shined the light on the World of Outlaws or High Limit. But at the time we were talking about World of Outlaw, Brad Sweet said, Kenny, the top 3 drivers, he says, like mine, he says, I drive for Casey Kane, and we got Napa Auto Parts. He said, the big 3, maybe like a David Gravel who's got good sponsorship. He goes, top 3 can make a living. He says 4, 5, 6 gets really iffy. And this is per Brad Sweet. Then he said like 7 on back, it's just vagabond. So, I mean, it is a very expensive sport. If you try to do it for a living, you got to win. I mean, it takes sponsorship if you're gonna do that and run 85 races a year. I mean, listen, me and you know this. I'm just creating this for the show right now for the fans that are learning dirt racing. It's getting bigger every year. It's on Flow. It's on Dirt Vision, and these sprint car motors are $90,000 for Knoxville because they got to have so much torque to pull the wing. The Durham Ford motors for late models are $60,000. But the car count gets bigger.
Yeah. Well, it's, you can call it a sport. It's hard to call it a profession. It's a hobby with somebody. It's a hobby. Usually for the car owner, it's a hobby. Usually. And then you have that year, they win $2 million. But, by the time you take $2 million, you pay your expenses, you pay the driver. Now, the driver can make some money. You pay the driver. And, hey, guess what? I only lost a couple $100,000. That's fun. I did my hobby and only lost a couple $100,000. It's a
it's fair to say, I'm going to say this and you just say yes or no. When you look at these big time dirt racers that are on the road, if you don't have a car owner like NASCAR, Lance Landers owns JD's car. My friend Nick Hoffman has an owner. If you don't have a Hoker Trucking or a Petroff, towing, I mean, that is dirt racing to this day, Kenny. I don't know if anybody's out there doing it all by themselves. Yeah. Just speak to that.
No, I mean, you can do anything all by yourself. Just depends how much money you have to spend. It's racing. It's no different in NASCAR. It's worse in NASCAR. These cars, when, right. I remember years ago, Jimmy won championship, and they won $12 million or something over the course of the year. And that's when they're spending 30 plus, but now the sponsorship comes in there, that's what they won. That didn't count the sponsorship. So it's no dear. All you do when you go from your pickup truck and a little single axle trailer with your 4-cylinder car on it to your big feather light with 500 employees, and you got 3 different teams, and you pull into Daytona for the 500. All you did was add zeros. You just added zeros to what you're spending and what you can win, but you just adding zeros. It's still what you're spending is bigger number than what you can win.
Deets, we're going to move on to the Chili Bowl, but I just wanted to say this. No matter the age, you just heard it. I mean, and I'm just creating a nice discussion to end this. You could be 45 years old, and if you don't got the money, you're not going to be able to go racing. I say this here. Rusty would say, it's sad to say, no matter your age, if you don't got money, you're not going racing. Just your thoughts on it takes money to go racing, no matter your age.
Well, and I'm sure you guys know 100, 500 guys that had the talent to go race NASCAR. or to go race the World Outlaws or race Lucas Oil that didn't have the money and the opportunity and the resources to do it. And, you know, that's one thing I think that's never changed. You had guys back in the old days that were independents, you know, that putzed around and they were just out there and they knew they weren't going to win the races and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I mean, that's kind of what makes the world go around.
It's sad to say, but that's the way it is. And Kenny Schrader, and there's Schrader right there in front of me right now. Kenny Schrader and myself and our family. Kenny had his dad, Bill. I had my dad, Russ. And none of us had a pot to piss in. We made it happen. We're as rural Midwest as you can get. And, you know, I'd go by Bill's Automotive, Kenny's uncle. And, you know, when your dad passed away, Kenny, I mean, that's all we know. And then you make it. And then all of a sudden you're in trouble because you made it. And you have a sponsor cycle. You should have seen 20 years ago. All right, everybody. Well, that's good stuff. Okay, let's go to the Chili Bowl. And then we'll have jokes, and then we'll what's next. But Kenny, I'm going to serve it up to you. I was there, but, you know, you are an open wheel guy. They love you. They miss you, but they all understand you were out there racing. So this Kevin Swindell is now the new Keith Coons. And when you go to the Chili Bowl, there's no truck or no trailer with one open wheel midget. If you don't have 5, I mean, Kevin Swindell had 3. And that Jet Barnes, that 14-year-old, was one of them because Kevin Swindell said that kid can drive. But anyway, Emerson Axum wins for Kevin Swindell. There's a lot to talk about, but Emerson Axum takes the lead from Kyle Larson. He passes Kyle Larson, makes 54 laps perfect. On the last lap, pops the nose over in 2. All hell breaks loose, coming down to the white flag, and Justin Grant tries to take the lead, flips, caution. Did you see any of the finish? Because it was breathtaking.
I watched Chili Bowl every night I could. I have yet to see the feature because that was during our feature. I want to just sit down and watch the whole replay. You know, I was supposed to call you last week. Did you get to see the Seymours out there? Because they were.
Oh my God!
They wound up 3rd Saturday night.
Well, I'll tell you what. Kevin Thomas came from like 22nd to 2nd. But I don't know. Let me just say this. I only know the Seymours because I know you worship them. And I mean that in a loving way. If I would have seen the Seymours, I'd have given them a hug. And maybe I did see them.
But anyway, I mean, you're never out of that race. I mean, 55 laps is on a little track, but a lot happens in that race. You know, I mean, it's a heck of an event. I hear people talking about the biggest race of the year. Well, I don't quite agree with that, but it's the biggest race in Tulsa in January for sure.
You know, we've talked about this before, but not enough for the fans to remember it. Tony Stewart said, I didn't know there was 320 open wheel midgets in America. Is the Chili Bowl their only race? I mean, I know they race, but what is, and I don't get mad at me. All you open wheel people, do not get mad at me. Do we even know about the open wheel midgets unless it's the Chili Bowl, Kenny?
Well, their stuff's changed. It used to be Terre Haute, they had the Hut 100, they'd have Belleville, Kansas, the Midget Nationals. Hell, they used to run them at DuQuoin on the mile. USAC did years ago. But now they, you know, the USAC National Series, I don't know how many races it is. I mean, do not know. I'm guessing it's probably strong 50. But car counts, Chili Bowl is not just a race. It's an event. It's an event. People want to go to events. You can, I don't know what all you do in Tulsa in January, but you go into that town, you don't have to go to the Chili Bowl every night, which is 6 nights, I guess, or 7 nights. It's just grown into an event. 40 years. Emmett Hahn and Lanny Edwards started, lost money for a couple years, then made a few bucks, and then has grown to what it is, which is beyond belief, which the 300 and something cars, thought I heard the other day, 405 entries or something, 380 something made it there. But that's still pretty small compared to the 1,900 they had 2 weeks before for the shootout.
Tulsa shootout. Yeah. Okay, same thing, but just different subject matter. The big three. So we go into the Chili Bowl, and everybody, people would say, "Who you got, Wallace?" And I'm like, "I'm going to go Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, and Logan Seavey." And not a one of them showed up. Well, Seavey was close. Bell, he won the what's that race they have? The week before?
Race of Champions. I think it's Monday night.
He started on pole. He won that, but he come from 8th, and he won his qualifier. Christopher Bell was extremely happy because this was his first shot at ownership. It was his own open wheel midget. I could see the emotion. Kyle Larson settles into 2nd, and somebody had a right front flat and was like almost dead in the water, and Kyle could not get off of him and flipped his own car. But just talk about how competitive that race is. The top 3, Kyle led for about 3-5 laps, and the big, quote unquote, we're having fun here. The big 3, it was a shock that Emerson won.
Yeah, well, see, it's the big 3. That's maybe, 3 guys that might have been the favorites, but there's no big 3 when you go in there. There's a big 30, and it's 30 guys that say, "Oh yeah, I didn't pick him," but it's not surprising that he won. It's just, it's just our sport. And I say our sport, I mean just automobile racing. You used to be able to pick, years ago, you could pick a half a dozen guys who had the best chance to win Daytona 500.
I want to give a shout out. I hung out with the Boats, Billy Boat, and his son Chad. Now Billy Boat, didn't he win? Did he win the Chili Bowl? I mean, I was with him the whole time. Did he win it once, Billy?
I don't know if Billy won it or not. I think he did. I don't know. Should have asked him. We were with him.
Chad. Yeah, I didn't want to do that. I didn't have enough balls to go, "Hey, have you won this race?" Rusty would have beat my ass if I didn't. One last thing, and Dietz, I'll kind of serve you up this. I think it's interesting as somebody from the outside looking in. The competitive spirit of Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell. They're interviewing Kyle Larson, and you got, slamming Sammy Swindell, 5 wins. Kevin Swindell, 4 wins. Those are the grandmasters. Now you got Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell at 3 wins. They're interviewing Kyle Larson, and I loved it. They said, "Kyle, you've won 3 times." And he goes, "Yeah." He says, "I want to win the 4th one before Christopher Bell." It caught me off guard, but just talk to that, Kyle Larson wanting to get to 4 Chili Bowl wins before Christopher Bell. Just your thought on competitive spirit.
Well, first off, I just looked it up. Billy Boat won at 97, which
Thank you.
that was around that
Thank
time. I think that he won all 3 USAC championships, major championships, something like that. If I'd have to go back and look that up too.
I don't think Billy never the Triple Crown. Billy never did that.
No, I'm thinking of Yaley.
Yaley.
JJ Yaley. Yeah. I think it's great. I mean, Kyle and Christopher Bell are clean race car drivers. They've raced each other, God, most of their lives now, and I think that's great. Anything to be a motivator to go out and try to win that next one, and for those guys, if it's to go out and beat the other guy in the record books, then I think it's wonderful.
I thought it was good for the fans, Kenny. I thought it was good for the fans just to kind of get everybody involved. I remember I was talking to Scott Bloomquist, and I said, Scott, I love it when you do that crotch chop. He says, I know when I do it, I'm taking a chance, because if I don't win, the fans will hold me to it. Because Bloomer knew the fans were involved. You're loved because you downplay everything, and you're the epitome of a racer. There are some racers, Kenny, that don't downplay it. What's your thought on just that?
I'm just thinking about the racing. Whatever. Everybody just do what they can do. Come on. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it takes everybody, is my point. And it's good to see a little bit of showmanship. I did like it that Kyle Larson said, I want to get to 4 before Mr. Bell. My point is this.
It's like Richard Petty. Richard Petty's. Boy, I can't believe you won 200 cup races, Richard. He said, hey, dude, I lost over 1,000.
Good stuff. Okay. There's a lot to talk about, but we've gone plenty long enough. So where are we at, Dietz, with our jokes? We got any jokes ready?
Always. I'm on top of it. Okay. Did you hear about the circus fire? It was intense. Well, got that one.
The circuses are intense.
Now, I like this one. How do you catch a squirrel? Climb a tree and act like a nut. And then this one is very close to my heart because it sounds like something my wife would say. I told my wife she should embrace her mistakes. She gave me a hug.
I thought that. Yeah. I knew where that was going.
Okay, Kenny. We always end the show like this. What's next? I think you and I are doing the same thing, but what's next for you?
Well, unload all the bent up stuff from Arizona. We're leaving Monday to go to Volusia, the Dirt Car Nationals down there. We will stop Tuesday and test on the way down. We'll have a new car for Glenn Stiers, a new Lethal modified. I'll have mine modified. We'll have a backup car. We got 5 people and 2 haulers going down and a crew cab. So they got something to drive down there, and I in the motorhome. So we'll look like a bunch of gypsies leaving. Now, you want to do your money stuff? We've got all this big money. Well, I think when we go down there, we have the potential to win about, I don't know, maybe $15,000. And I know we're not going to spend much more than 35 or 40. So, yes, it's a good
you spent that in tires. So when do I need to have you help me every year? Joey Walsh, your crew chief. Joey's good to me. You're good to me. I'm going to bring you my helmet bag, and I'm going to bring you a couple boxes of my merchandise. And Nick Hoffman's wife, Lacey, she called me. She says, Kenny, would you like to put some of your merchandise in our trailer? So you're my boss. when do I need to have my helmet bag and my merchandise? When do I need to have it at your shop so you take it to Volusia?
Before Friday. So you pick the day you're going to come over and buy lunch.
Okay.
Are you driving down or flying down?
Hey, I'm a wimp. I'm flying down. I'm staying at Rusty's house, and I'm driving Nick Hoffman's race car. But I still got all my own stuff up here. You're still doing it like a circus act. My days are over with that. I love your spirit, and you truly make me not slow down. I'm like, I'm thinking to myself,
the hustle to get through custom, or not through custom, through security and stuff. So you can't be slowing down. You got to hustle to get through security, so you can get on your plane and fly down there.
Yeah, that's true. I find it amazing that you drive everywhere. I know you find peace in it.
I fly when I got to. We just never figured out a way to get 4 vehicles and 3 race cars down there flying.
So Kenny Schrader operates at a higher level than I do, everybody. And I admire that. I think it's awesome.
I'm not picking on him. Yeah.
All right. I love it. It's okay. We need that. By the way, I do want to say this. Kenny Schrader is truly my best friend in life. And I don't like it when people try to put me and you against each other. Schrader won. What about you, Wallace? I'm like, you don't understand. Ain't none of us ever going to catch Kenny Schrader.
We're not against each other ever. We're just doing different stuff sometimes, but we're definitely partners all the time.
I'm your biggest
my brother.
Okay, Deets. Yes, Deets, you got anything?
Well, I got a feeling that we're going to be digging out of ice or snow here in the Carolinas. But if not, I'll be at my son's football and basketball, and I know the pavement late models are supposed to race this weekend down at Cordele in Speed Fest, so that'll be something that kind of look at and see what happens and see how many cars they got down there, and if this trend kind of continues that we've been talking about in the last few weeks.
Kenny, did you catch that? He said Cordele.
Well,
is that anything like Cordell, Georgia?
I'm pronouncing it correctly.
It's just.
Oh, so
it's
not Cordell.
It's the same place, but I heard a rumor that there might be a hero driver there this weekend. I just heard the rumor.
Well, you probably heard it from Bob Sargent. So who is it?
You're right. You're
I don't know. Right, I heard that Superman might be making a pavement race this weekend. I don't know. I don't know if it's been confirmed, but I heard there was a rumor. I think Hocevar is going to be down there too.
Hey, he was at the Chili Bowl. Carson Hocevar. He's a racer.
You know, in Chili's, it's a big deal. The Chili Bowl, and that's his sponsor.
Okay, everybody. Here we go. To end the Herm Schrader show, Kenny Schrader and myself, like Kenny's already told you, but y'all come out now here to Volusia Speedway Park. We start racing January 29th, 31st. We are with the non-wing USAC sprint cars. January 29th, 30th, 31st.
ASCS wing cars, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And then we take Sunday off. Sunday, February 1st, we are off. And then we go 7 straight nights. February 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. And then the late models come in. But where Outlaw sprint cars are in there. What else?
That's just with the wing sprint cars that whole second week. Well, we're with the wing sprint cars the whole time. The first week is, I think it's ASCS. It was winged, and then the second week is, I know the World Outlaws is the last 3 or 4 nights, but it's basically all those guys every night.
All right, everybody, that's it. And remember, this show is on the Kenny Wallace YouTube show, or you can check us out on Dirty Mo Media Podcast.